Hey, howdy ho. How's it going, guys? Hope you guys are having a great, fantastical fucking day. I know we are. It's gorgeous here in the Mile House City. I said it wrong, but it don't matter. We're here talking about Phil Lord and Chris Miller's, like, some of the early work, because this Friday, I think one of the more anticipated films of 2026 is coming out with theirs and Ryan Gosling's Project Hail Mary. I'm sure everyone who's watching this probably knows about that film at this point. But I figure I'm like, Leo, let's bring it back to the roots, because have you seen any of their work before? Because I don't know, Leo.
I've seen Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay, outside of like the Spider-Verse films, because I feel like that's the generic answer.
I've seen the Lego Movie.
Have you seen Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs?
I have, yes.
Okay, good. I think that was like one of their first films.
Yeah, it's like it's the first. That was the first movie they directed, right before 21 Jump Street. I'm looking at their filmography. I know they're pretty infamous for being let go off of Solo, a Star Wars story.
I'll be honest, I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember it now that you said it, but like, I think I don't know. That's one of those films where, I don't know. We could spiral into a whole conversation with that. Let me not real quick. Because I figured I wanted to try to find something more live action, because I feel like everyone has seen, like what you mentioned, the Lego film, the Spider-Verse movies. I know these two films, 21 and 22 Jump Street, have like a crowd that really likes them, but I don't feel like when people talk about Phil Lord and Chris Miller, they ever talk about these films or even their live action work. I feel like they always think about their animation stuff. So I thought it'd be really interesting to go back to these films.
I think it's funny because technically the only two movies that they've directed with each other that were animated were Cloudy with a Chance and the Lego Movie. Like, most of what I'm seeing is like they were either producers or...
I also, dude, I'll be honest, I always do think they directed the Spider-Verse films, even though they're just producers. There's something in the back of my head that always thinks that.
Yeah, I know they produced that one, and Phil Lord is a credited writer. So a lot of their stuff is pretty much producing and writing. So like, honestly, the only four other movies that they've directed were these two Jump Street movies, and then Cloudy with a Chance and the Lego Movie, which is honestly interesting to me.
Wait, did they not do the second Lego Movie?
No, they...
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought they did that.
They were producers on the Lego Batman movie and the Lego Ninjago movie. I don't even see the Lego Movie 2 on this one.
Oh, maybe they're coming out with it. That's what I saw. I think I saw them... Dude, I'm telling you, I think there's a Lego 2 movie or no, it's a Lego Batman 2. Right?
I don't know. I don't see
I think there's a Lego,
like that, but I don't think they were even a part of the second Lego movie that I'm seeing.
Hold up, I gotta look
since
this
they wrote
up
it.
now.
Why isn't it on here? Am I tripping balls right now, or it says that they wrote it? Oh no, here it is. Sorry, no, yeah, it's here. Anyways. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. They have an interesting filmography.
Okay, so they are producers on Lego Batman 2. I just checked that because I thought I just saw something about that recently, but they've been in the sphere in like multifaceted ways.
Yeah.
And I think it's really interesting with Project Hail Mary, because I don't know if this sounds weird, but this kind of feels like... I don't know how to say this without it like coming off negative, because it's definitely not that, but this feels like the climax, or like whatever the French word is people use for like the peak of someone's work, is coming up with that, just based off like what I'm hearing through people. So this also just seems like a film way different from anything that they've done themselves. I think from producing, writing, and directing, that I'm more curious to see how it goes. And you saw that thing where apparently they use like no green screen in the movie.
I saw that. That's bullshit. There's no way.
That's what I said.
Okay,
I'm like, there's no way.
Even if they didn't use like a traditional green screen, it could have just been in the way that like Dune used like what they called sand screens, which is just a green screen, but it's a different color. So like, whenever someone says like, "Oh, we didn't use this," or it was all practical or whatever, I always take that with a grain of salt because most of the time they're lying. Like, uh, I mean, the easiest example is like, with Top Gun Maverick when that was coming out, everyone wouldn't shut the fuck up about how like they shot all of the jet scenes practically, which isn't true, but
Well, bro, it goes like to F1. People were like, "Why is F1 getting a VFX nomination this year if they did all the race car shooting like on location in the cars?" Like,
okay.
well,
To
bro,
be fair
you
though,
think they're rolling all these cars with like Brad Pitt and shit in them? No, they're rolling cars with professionals who have like 30,000 layers of like compression covering them at all
I mean,
times.
yeah, to be fair, like I know that a lot of that stuff was shot practically. Like they got permission to shoot on the racetracks, not just for scene recreations, but like also they
Yeah,
shot
dude,
actual races.
they
And a
shot
lot
in
of
like
that
Vegas and
VFX, a lot
stuff.
of that VFX stuff is mostly them adding in like the car models in the background or taking out like logos and stuff that they didn't have permission to use. So that's still a feat in and of itself to like help match with the continuity and stuff. So that I understand that makes sense to me. Them getting nominated for a VFX award. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's why I really wanted to talk about 21 and 22 Jump Street today because it was their first like helm at live action, especially in directing. And I think it's a lot different from anything they've done, sort of in the same vein that I think Project Hail Mary is going to be, just in a different way. Obviously, after I think if you've seen these movies, but Leo, I know you haven't seen them before, and I'm curious. I saw your ranking or rating for the first one,
Mm.
but let me know. I'm curious what you thought about the first and second one, just right off the rip.
I mean, I liked them. I don't know how best like comedy's not really my thing. um,
That's unfortunate, bro.
I mean, not I'm not saying that I don't like comedies, but I don't generally go out of my way to watch them. And I'd heard of these ones, and I don't know. I mean, definitely part of the reason why I never like saw them soon was, at the time they came out, I was not allowed to watch these kind of movies. So there's just a lot of things that I like I've missed over the years that I know like were big in like pop culture and whatnot. I've seen clips from these movies. Like I knew about the daughter subplot from the second one, and obviously I've seen the part where, about like the two strapping and then him punching the gay kid or whatever. And so, yeah, I had an idea of what it was going in, and I think that was another reason why I wasn't really that interested in watching them. Like, I'm not saying this as like a con against them, like, but for me personally, I really struggle to watch like cringe humor, if that makes sense. Like when the characters are put in a situation where they have to like do
Be
something,
embarrassed.
yeah, be embarrassed, and I had to keep stopping. And these movies do it mostly at the beginning of the movie when they're first getting started, and I think it works. It's just I really get secondhand embarrassment from that stuff, and like in the second one, the slam poetry thing, I muted that. I couldn't like.
Dude, why? It's so
I
good.
heard
It's
him
such
say
a
the
funny
first.
scene.
I heard him say the first line. I hit pause and I had to like mentally prepare myself. And I was like, okay, hold on a second. We have to like, we have to get ready for the emotional trauma that I'm about to experience. And then I kept only getting through one line before I had to pause it again. And I was just, I can't do this. I have to mute. So I muted it and then I waited until they started clapping and I was like, okay, we're good.
Bro,
I
that
can't
is
do it.
unreal.
But I
That is
think the thing that I like about these movies is kind of like the absurdity of it. Like I like comedies that are have a certain amount of absurdity and silliness to where you can kind of just be like, oh, I don't really have to pay too much attention to like the logistics of what's going on. I can kind of just sit back and laugh at how stupid this is.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't know. I felt like I hadn't seen these films. I think it was before like 2020. So it was a hot minute for me. But going back to it now, it's funny you brought up your experience with how young you were when these came out, because when the first one came out, I was just like the year before high school. And then I was like a junior or sophomore when the second one came out. So I was like in
I don't
the
think that
middle
math
there.
adds up. I'm not gonna
What do
lie.
you mean?
You were 12 when you went to high school?
No, I said it was the year before I went to high school.
Okay, so you were 13.
Yeah, I was no, sorry. So I was in seventh grade when the first one came out, and then
Okay.
I was sophomore in high school when the second one came out.
Okay, I think that makes more sense.
Because yeah, it's only been 2 years between the two films, and I kind of grew up loving this kind of humor. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's because I grew up on like watching Jonah Hill films, and
Yeah, and I haven't
this
seen a lot of
was
Jonah Hill films either.
when I first saw this, bro. I'm trying to. I think the only thing I knew Channing Tatum was. I don't even know if you know what these movies are, but Step Up.
I know he was in them, but I've never seen them.
Bro, Step Up is probably one of the best fucking franchises of all time. I don't mean that too seriously, but they're really fun movies. Dude, the first one is literally just like him falling in love with a girl and they're just dancing with each other. And like it turns into by the third one like these two fucking rivalries going on top of roofs, doing these insane fucking dance moves in water and shit. I don't know, but this was like the first time I'd seen Channing Tatum take on like a really funny comedic role where there's no drama to it. And I don't know what it is, but I think Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum as a duo just work so well together, and it only improves by the second one, I think.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Like, I think the chemistry between them is really good, and I think part of it is just the way that the movie like kind of sets it up. And I really like the first one because like the first 10 minutes is very quick paced, but you get a lot of like good information in that span of time that I think a lot of movies kind of would have either not given us or taken way too long to like set up. And I kind of liked the fact that we were getting to the point, especially in like a buddy cop comedy like this, where a lot of it is kind of more based around the premise of them being put in that situation. And also like I think I kind of spoke about it earlier, like how they're like just young enough or whatever. And I like how the movie uses that as kind of like an in joke of like, oh yeah, they're, everyone kind of makes fun of them for how old they look. And I thought that was really funny.
Well, I also like in its own comedy works so well because the people they casted to play these 18-year-old teenagers are also the same age as
Yeah.
the ones pretending to be like teenagers. So there's this really funny conflict of interest around it all that is just never not funny. And I think they make it work really well in like a college setting at the same time. Like, I don't know. These two films just do a really good job at least for the first one, setting up what high school was like in like early 2000 or just like 2005 and to where like high school was when they became cops. Because going back to this first one kind of felt like a throwback and like early like YouTube stuff. And we could say that because we're in 2026 and that clear, bro. I can't tell you how much that really disgusted me that when these films came out, it was only like 3-5 years since YouTube had like been a thing, and now we're 17 years past that point. So really interesting and funny in a sense. And I like going back to us just seeing who they were in high school because while I don't think the film needed to be this super deep and rich backstory about why they hated each other and how they grew to connect each other, I think it's just simple enough, but also kind of like emotionally resonant because I feel like this is how a lot of like later on adult relationship happens in life. And I'm not talking about like in this exact manner, but there's people that I've spoken to now being out of high school for almost a fucking decade that be like, hey, yeah, like this was crazy back in high school. Like we make amends as we get older. And I think that was an interesting play on this because Channing Tatum plays the guy you would think of him stereotypically, and Jonah Hill plays the guy that you would think of him stereotypically. And I think the film does a really good job at playing into those stereotypes and tropes really well. And it's just so funny, bro.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like you were saying, it's not exactly realistic, but I think that works in terms of the movie. But I think on like a more emotional level, I like even though I haven't experienced the exact same thing that you were talking about. I think it's interesting that this movie sort of plays on the idea of like how as you get older, you sort of look back on your younger years and you kind of start to realize like, oh, maybe things weren't exactly the way that I thought they were. And I like how that seeing that in their relationship when they first like meet back at the police academy, and even though they had a very like tense relationship in high school, the stereotypical like he's the jock and he's the nerd and they don't get along. That as soon as they kind of start to see each other's qualities in police academy, they're kind of like, let's be friends. And I just thought that was really wholesome and kind of cute. And then just the way that the second one kind of picks up on that as well is so hilarious. I think their relationship is definitely the strongest point, and obviously the both movies use that kind of in a tropey way, but I think it still works because of how funny it is and how good the chemistry between Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill is. But yeah.
And to kind of add on to your point about how once we grow older and just how we view things differently, I think between 21 Jump Street and 22 Jump Street, they both do a really good job at explaining Schmidt's and Janko's like own I can't think of the word. It's like on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it, but like their self confidence. I guess like I can't
Like
think of a
their
better word right now. Insecurity, yeah. Oh my god, dude, I can't believe I blanked on that word. But yeah, their insecurities I think are played so well in both of these, and how each film kind of puts more of the other towards the backseat in terms of it. Like the first film, 21, is more Schmidt's film and his high school experience, and
Yeah.
22 is more Janko and not going to college because ha ha ha, he was too stupid. I think, like what you said, they're wholesome ways of viewing it. And I mean this in the best way possible, but I do not remember being 22 Jump Street being so gay. Like, I mean that in the best way, too. Between all the bromances, like, the film is so sexual between the two of
Well,
them.
it's
Like,
not being subtle, and I remember
and I
I
love
saw
it.
the trailer for the second one, and it starts with the scene of them in like the couples therapy or whatever, and I didn't know, like, so I knew that scene was in it, and I was like, oh, that's kind of funny, and then the movie kept like going back to like their quote unquote relationship issues, and it just kept getting funnier and funnier, and yeah, I wasn't expecting them to like lean into that, and I ended up really liking it because obviously like the first one is more about them being like, best buddies and brothers and stuff, and then the second one kind of takes this different turn on, and using that like kind of relationship for more humor. I just thought it was really fun, and it adds more to the plot element of them kind of having another falling out and then coming back together and being like, hey, it's you and me and all that.
yeah, like the scene of Janko just continuously trying to fuck with Wyatt Russell in like that montage scene in the
Oh,
second one, and he's just like, what are you doing, bro? It's just so funny because that is like the ultimate scene of you knowing as the audience that they're meant to be together, and it's just so painfully obvious that I love when they finally do catch back up in the park. It's just another match cut of almost like the first film of the way
yeah.
they were standing at each other with the guns. Just now, Schmidt's holding the gun and Janko's holding the football. I don't want. I even want to try to figure out how that whole him enrolling in college after not becoming a cop anymore works, but that's neither here or there because that just seems like a lot of fumbling, and I'm kind of confused because the captain's daughter at the towards the end of the film when Schmidt is leaving the campus with his parents, she says, "Wow, thanks for being a liar, Doug." And then you would think in that moment that her dad told her who he was, but then when her dad runs into her in Mexico, she calls him Doug again. So
Oh,
I'm really confused by that point if she knows like what his true identity is or not. But like that's either here or there. It's just
I don't
something I
know.
was thinking in the moment. I just thought it was funny because I'm like, I don't know. I really like the way they treated Schmidt's character in this movie because of the way they worked him in the first one with him being so insecure about who he is as a person and going back to high school became such a problem for him. But because it was so much easier for Jenko, he felt more confident going in. But because the world changed in only 7 years, they kind of flip flop. I like that change in how in the second one, I like that they didn't make Jenko kind of not Jenko, Schmidt, the Jenko role in this film, where he's just sad and lonely the whole film and just kind of crying to these nerds that he just became friends with. And I like how they gave him a relationship in the second one and a meaningful one at best because I quite like the relationship between him and the captain's daughter in this movie and found it to be kind of enduring towards the end.
I mean, I like the relationship that he has with her. I think her name's what, Amy or something, if I remember
Yeah, I think it's
correctly.
Amy.
But oh, sorry, no, not Amy, Maya.
Maya,
Um,
yeah.
anyways, I definitely like it more than I did the first one with Brie Larson's character. I think her name was Molly. This dude must really have a thing for girls whose name starts with M. But I don't know. I to me like there were the point that you brought up where like she found out about his true identity or whatever. And then there's another part when she first introduces him to her dad, not knowing that they know each other. Like, I don't know if I missed something, but it kind of felt like there were some scenes missing because if I remember correctly, after they slept with each other, she implied that she didn't want it to be like a serious dating thing. And then the next time you see her, which is at that like parent day or whatever, she's like, "Oh, this is the guy that I'm dating" or whatever. So I don't know. I don't know if that was just me or like I missed something.
Yeah, no, I
But
agree.
okay, so
I
okay,
noticed that as well.
so yeah, I don't know what that's about.
I
So
think
I
it
just
came,
I think
bro. This film's long, so I think it just came down to
that's true.
which
That's
parts
true.
to cut.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. If I feel like if you're gonna dedicate so much time to their relationship just for a joke, you might as well just like add because I don't think it would have taken that much out because otherwise, I mean, I think Schmidt does kind of do his fair share of like moping about like the relationship between.
Yeah, but not like Jenko in the first one. Jenko's like that the entire film, and it never feels like a true resolution until the climax when they're forced to kind of come together. This one feels a lot more natural and they're drifting apart in their lives, which I think is a really good metaphor for college at the same time, where two friends are drifting apart even though they're at the same school. Um, I don't know. I feel like if you were to give more time to his relationship with Amy, or Maya, sorry, you got me fucking doing it now. You would have gotten less time with Jenko and Schmidt, but I think the film needed that more time because I feel like you didn't get as much in that first film with them as you do in the second.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely not as tied to like the internal struggle in the first one as it is in the second one because obviously the second one is about like you were saying them sort of drifting apart and him trying to like realize lost dreams or lost goals and whatnot. So I agree with that, but I don't know. I just to me it just felt off because they were focusing so much on the his dating relationship, and then it kind of felt like they cut stuff out. So that's all I'm saying. I'm like, I just feel like there was clearly stuff missing in between, and I feel like it wouldn't if they had just done it in a way where it wasn't as noticeable. I wouldn't really care, but because I did notice it, I kind of care more.
I don't know. I don't find myself caring too much about it because I still think the funny moment still hits, dude. It's
Oh no,
still
yeah,
one of the
no,
funniest
it's still
fucking
very
moments of
funny.
all
Yeah,
time, dude. I've watched this movie like 5 times, and it still gets me fucking crying. Like both scenes when they first meet each other at the brunch, and then when Jenko finds out and does his like little runaround. Like both scenes individually are so fucking hilarious, and Ice Cube is just like, I don't think the dude could be any funnier like outside of these first two movies. And
mm.
do you like that joke that Schmidt made about, wow, they made his office into a literal ice cube in this
Yeah.
church?
Dude,
I didn't notice
the
that until this rewatch, and I'm like, no way, bro.
dude, the amount of like meta jokes that they do in this movie is fucking crazy, and I loved all of them. Because this one of the things I really loved about the second one is that they keep joking about the idea of like, oh, more of the same. We want more of the same, in sort of the same vein of like, oh, this movie did really good. Make another one that's exactly the same, so that we
Well,
can make
bro,
it. And I
it's
like
the
the part
line
at the
they
beginning with
say.
Nick Offerman, where
Yeah.
he's like, oh, they think that throwing 2 times the money will make them 2 times the amount of money or whatever. So it was something like that, and I was like, damn, they're taking all the shots.
Well, I also like the line that Schmidt says to, I think it's Ice Cube, where when he's first asking him what the job is, he's like, "All right, which high school are we going back to?" Assuming that they still look young enough to play
Yeah.
those roles, and Ice Cube's are like, "You old ass motherfuckers, like don't look a day
Over
younger
50.
than 40 or whatever." And dude, it's just like all those little things that I think makes the sequel funnier in
Yeah.
retrospect than the first, because I personally I always thought the first was better than the second, but I think this is the first time where I think opposite, where I think the second works a lot better than the first one does. Because I'll be honest, I think the first one does have a few outdated aspects to it
Yeah.
that I think the sequel turns into jokes, like the whole Jenko finding out that punching a guy in the face and calling him gay is like homophobic was really funny in the second one, but it felt kind of out of place in the first one. But you also understood it because that he looks like the type of guy that would do that, so you were
Yeah.
able to like push it off, I think, a lot easier. But like I think the first one has a lot more of those.
Yeah. I think the good thing about the first one is that it doesn't happen a lot, so it's kind of not as noticeable. But I think when you go straight into like the second one, it does become a little more noticeable because everything kind of just gels more nicely. Like the plot and the like character moments all tie together a lot nicer. And I still like the first one. Like there's not as many laugh out loud moments, but there's quite a few that I really liked in the first one. I think by the end of it, I did kind of get really annoyed with I don't know. To me, it was just weird, the Molly relationship, just because I know they say that she's 18, but I don't. It
Doesn't help.
It doesn't make it a lot better.
It doesn't help.
But I do like the idea of them like going to prom with each other after missing their prom in the first. Not that they spent a lot of time at the prom, but and then there's the Johnny Depp and God, I'm trying to remember his name. The other guy.
Yeah, I always
They
forget
were
his name
both.
too.
They were
from
both
the
in the
show.
first or in the show.
In this show.
Peter DeLuise, like that cameo. Those that shit was unhinged, man. Like
It was so good.
yeah, but it's like the best part of the movie aside
But
from like
it goes
a lot
by
of the
so
other stuff.
fast, and then it turns into like a generic car chase.
Well, it's funny because they get taken out very, very quickly, but then they have they go out of their way to give them like a send off for people who are like who knew them from the first show or whatever. I just thought that was really funny. But yeah, the car chase scene is actually really good. And I don't know, it just I think the character arcs do work in the end, like quite well. Like it really resonated with me. Jonah Hill like coming over or getting over his like what's the word I'm looking for? Like him freezing in the moment and whatever, and finally like having the courage to like shoot the gun and whatever, and then also Janko taking the bullet for him that comes back in the sequel. I don't know, just a lot of the stuff that's set up in the first movie comes back in the second one, and it uses to its advantage. and makes it funnier.
Also, I think it doesn't help that the sequel has one of the funniest memes that the internet's probably ever created. My name Jeff. You got,
I've never seen that.
dude. What? No fucking way.
The meme that I know the most from these movies is the moment where Janko is shouting in the 2022 Jump Street station about like how he fucked the captain's daughter. The oh shit moment.
No,
That's
bro.
the one I've heard the most.
When
And
this
actually, I
film
didn't
first
know it was
came
from this
out,
movie until I actually saw the original clip one time, like after it had gone viral.
I will say, I think in the second one, I wish they included like that little nerd group from the first one a little bit more. 'Cause
Yeah, they show up.
It felt like a weird wink, but
Yeah.
never did anything with it. Until,
They
like,
show
the
up
last
briefly in the
ending.
first scene when they show up at the station, and then they come back later in the spring break, and one of the other women from the previous one shows up too, but she's like the only one, which I kind of thought was funny. Like they,
Dakota Johnson became too big, bro.
yeah, probably. Which also, dude, we haven't even talked about like how many fucking people are in the first
Just
one.
notable,
Like,
just notable
like
actors in these
Brie
movies.
Larson, what's his name?
Dave Franco.
Yeah, Dave Franco.
I know you. I know you don't know him. I mean, you'll know him from the most recent Scream movie, but like the guy in the second one that plays like the Rooster character on the football team, like the little
Oh,
henchman to Wyatt Russell. I forgot what his name was. That they think is the suspect at first.
yeah, I'm trying to find
His name. I don't remember what it is, but he's
Jimmy
so funny.
Tatro. Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy Tatro. He is fucking hilarious. He did a show for Netflix called American Vandal. One of the most unserious shits I've ever seen, like, in my lifetime. But just like a giant cast, like you said, Ice
Yeah.
Cube before, Dakota Johnson
Brie
in a cameo in the
Larson.
first one, Brie Larson playing an
Ellie
notable role.
Kemper.
Yeah, Ellie
Dude,
Kemper playing the teacher that wants to fuck her student.
Dude,
But it's only
shit
more
was so
acceptable
funny.
because we know how old he is.
Well, I think it's funny that's funny because it's funny because Ice Cube is like, you are not allowed to fuck any students or teachers, and
He just looks at him.
he specifically points out Janko, and then the whole time Janko was just like so uninterested. He's kind of just like, okay. And I don't know if you watched the credits, but I did.
For the first one?
For both of them.
Only the second one, not
Okay,
the first.
because in the first one, they actually do cut to them having sex.
No.
I'm not making that up.
Really?
It's
I never
so,
knew that. I'm gonna look it up
it's-
now.
I don't know how you're gonna look that up, but it's so, because I remember getting to the end, and I was like, oh, they never like really went back to that whole thing. Because I was wondering if Janko was gonna be like, oh, like I'm a cop or whatever to her, and that would sort of be like a resolution to that whole thing. But then like when he comes back to the station after they've made the arrest, I don't know if you noticed, but he kisses Dakota Johnson's character in the background.
Yeah, no, he does.
But then
noticed
yeah,
that.
at the end credits, during that like montage or whatever, it shows them like having sex in like some closet or something, and
That's hilarious.
she says a joke during it that I was like, oh my god.
What'd she say?
I think she said, "Wow, it's like two Hardy Boys in one" or something.
Ah.
You gotta go back and watch it now because
Dude, now I
it
do.
totally
That's
caught me off guard. I
hilarious.
was not expecting that.
What's his name? Also plays the teacher. I always forget his name, but he's also a big comedian actor.
Rob Riggle, the
Rob Riggle.
teacher. The
Yeah,
dude
bro,
from
what
New
do you-
Girl is in this too, isn't he? As the principal, Jake Johnson.
Yeah, for Jake Johnson for
Yeah.
two scenes. I always
Now I
forget
know
about
why
that.
he's in Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I think he's friends with them actually,
Yeah.
like IRL.
But
What
that's
do you
pretty
think
dope.
about like the tripping scenes in both films?
The what? Oh, it was. I liked it in the first one. I think the second one is a little better. Like it's a little more funny.
I agree.
But I think the thing with the first one is that it focuses a lot on like the dudes, the PE teachers, like face changing into like silly things that I kind of didn't really think was that funny. But I think what he's saying is funny. the Rob Riggle's character, Mr. Walters, that's his name. I think what he's like his interaction with them is funny, but I think what they're seeing isn't really that much. But I will say though, the scene before that, when they're fingering each other's mouths in the bathroom, that got a really big laugh out of me. That was hilarious.
Because, bro, the two of them together are just so ridiculously funny.
Yeah. I
It's
also
kind of
love,
crazy.
I also love how everyone's kind of just like, you guys, there's no way you guys are brothers. You don't look
And you guys
anything
also look
alike.
old as shit.
Yeah.
Like they all say it out loud, but they never put two and two together until they reveal it at the end, which is always funny. Do you know about like the planned crossover for this?
I've heard about it. I don't remember what the crossover was for.
Ah! Oh, bro. After the second one came out, I think for like it had been
Oh,
like
Men in
10
Black. That's
years.
what it
Men in
was.
Black, yeah. They were supposed to do a crossover with the Men in Black but like with the original cast members like Tommy Lee Jones
Yeah, Will
and
Smith.
Will Smith. But ironically enough, I think it's Will Smith that like kind of messed it all up.
No, I don't
But
think it was. It was um so I'm reading it on the Wikipedia.
no, you're
It
good.
says on this on August 7th, 2015, it was revealed that Lord and Miller would not direct the sequel, but instead write and produce. A first draft of the film script was completed. On December 10th, 2014, it was
Oh,
it was
here.
revealed that Sony was planning a crossover between Men in Black and Jump Street. The news was leaked after Sony's system was hacked, and then confirmed by the directors of the films, Lord and Miller, during an interview about it. Then James Bobbin was announced as the director in March 2016. The title of the crossover was later revealed as MIB 23, and it was revealed that the crossover would replace a 23 Jump Street film, but the idea for the film was later dropped.
And then like reading down below, apparently they had a bunch of like spin-offs planned. Like in April 2015, there was a female-centered Jump Street film that was apparently in development. But then in December of 16, Rodney Rothman had signed on to write direct. But then in 2018, 2 years later, Tiffany Haddish was cast in the lead, and then Zendaya and Aquafina were also negotiating for roles. But then by November 2020, it was revealed that Wendy Molyneux and Lizzie Molyneux Logaline, I absolutely butchered those names, had completed a draft of the script while the official title was announced to be Jump Street Now for Her Pleasure. And then in July of 23, there was a spinoff featuring Molly Tracy's in the like I don't know, like they don't mention them ever being canceled, so I don't know if these are like both things they plan. Like that
I
female one
mean,
definitely I think is done,
I
but
think
that
I don't
Molly
think
Tracy one I don't
I don't
know.
think we're likely um, to see, because like I'm seeing on October 10th, 2025, Tatum reiterated this. On June 24th, 2024, Tatum stated that 23 Jump Street had, quote unquote, the best script I've ever read for a third movie, and that he would love to do it with Jonah, and I know Jonah wants to do it too. Then on October 10th, 2025, Tatum reiterated this and elaborated that the project's stalling has been because of oversized budgets and producer fees, expressing his doubts it will ever happen because of the costs involving all the producers that would cost more than the actual film. He noted that Hill, Lord, and Miller have agreed to smaller producer fees as a solution, but Neil H. Moritz producer compensation keeps making the project unworkable.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
So,
dirty,
well, it's
bro.
because
I hate that.
everyone wants their piece of the box office and whatnot. So,
Which is crazy because they know right away that all of these films would probably make money.
well, yeah, I mean,
Just
just looking
because
at
I
the
think at
budget,
this
right?
point with Phil Lord and Chris Miller, just those two names alone would bring people in.
Yeah, so I think both movies had about okay, maybe not. So a budget of estimation is like 42 to 54.7 million. And for the first one made 201.6 million at the box office. The budget for the second one was somewhere in between 50 to 84.5 million and made 331.3 million.
God.
But
Pretty
yeah,
good.
that's crazy. So apparently the compensation for that one producer alone is more than the actual cost of the movie, which could be anywhere from 50 to like $80 million.
That's illegal, bro. That should be illegal.
It should.
Um, but I am disappointed that we never got MIB 23. I think that would have been an insanely
It definitely
it,
would have been
like.
better than the last MIB movie we got.
You mean like the last three? MIB has not been good since the first. I'm
I
sorry.
mean, I have a soft spot for the first three. I MIB International was the one where I was like, this is objectively bad.
No, International was awful.
Like
Three is
I
whatever. I
like
like the
three.
time travel
The second
aspects.
one is definitely the easiest to make fun of. But yeah, I don't know.
I agree. I do wish though that even though like the 23 Jump Street sequel never found its way into the promised land, I really wish that Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill figured out a way to work with each other in like a comedy sense. But I think by the time like the second one came out, I don't want to say anything, but I'm pretty sure that's when like Jonah Hill was going through his whole thing where he lost a lot of weight. After it, he stopped acting. I don't remember what it was, but I remember he took like a break from acting for a few years. He lost a lot of weight, and he came back to do that. I think it was a Netflix Eddie Murphy movie. I watched it a few years ago. It was
Oh, you
really
mean that
bad.
rom com where?
Yeah, I call it a race com because, dude, it's literally nothing about, oh, you're a white man's dating my black daughter, and oh, look, I'm dating your black daughter. That's literally what the jokes feel like they come down to in that film. And so, like, I don't know if he's. Oh wait, no, he did do This Is the End in between these films too in
Hmm.
2013. So he did like 3 years of straight comedies, and I don't know. I feel like that might have worn him down because damn, 2011 he also did a film called The Babysitter. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. That film was actually pretty funny.
Wait, which one?
It's called The Babysitter or The Sitter. It's one of the two. It came out in like 2011, I think. It's R. It
No, I haven't seen it.
it's a pretty solid movie, but I feel like he just got burned out in those 5 years, and it's unfortunate because I think Jonah Hill is one of the funniest fucking actors. Because also in between all this, he did Wolf of Wall Street, like that seems like a lot to do in 5 years, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
I forget. I forget he voices one of the characters in How to Train Your Dragon.
oh yeah, he plays one of the like kids, right?
He plays Snotlout. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm
Snotlout,
looking. I'm
that's
looking
it.
at his Wikipedia filmography. So yeah, he was. So the movie with Eddie Murphy was You People. The
You
only reason I
people,
know
yeah.
about that is because they had to like VFX the kiss scene at the end,
Yeah, I forgot about
and it
that.
looked
It
really
looked
bad.
awful.
um, which is funny. Uh,
COVID.
yeah, COVID. That's funny.
All right. Any last statements before we enter our wrap ups?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, I'm just pulling up my letterbox real quick.
I guess I'll go first. I
Yeah.
gave the first one a 3.5 out of 5 stars. And then the last one I gave a 4 stars out of 5.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. I gave the first one a 3.5 out of 5, and then I gave 22 Jump Street a 4 out of 5.
Mm.
Um, I mean, it's just like everything you were saying. The sequel, I think the sequel is exactly what a sequel should be. And
Yeah.
I think that's the best trait of it. It does everything the first one does, just better. And I think the plotting around all of it is way more refined.
Yeah.
Um, and I just think the character relationships, and I'm not talking about like Jenko and Amaya or Maya, fuck you, god damn it. I'm talking about like just Jenko and Schmidt because I feel like without that core in this film and the endearment of the love I think they have for each other, that while they don't say it, you can clearly tell it through their actions. I think the sequel not like go digs into that way more, and I think that's what makes it work even better in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
All right. And with that said, Leo, what are we watching next week?
All right. On next week's schedule, we are watching the Super Mario Bros. Movie because Super Mario Galaxy is coming out. Super excited about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what our schedule is for next week. Stay tuned for that, and we will see you next time.
Peace.